Hi, welcome back to the farm. Summer is over, the days are getting shorter, the air is crisp, vegetables are pretty much done, so now it's time to get the farm ready for winter and make sure I have productive beds next spring. So what I wanted to do is show you kind of where we're at today, before and after we get started. So I hope you'll join me. This is just going to be a walkthrough of what we got to do and then show you what it's like when I'm done. So anyway, I got a lot of work to do. Let's get going. So right off the get-go, I've got to apologize. I got so busy working, I forgot to take a before picture of this little field. This is where we grew our sunflowers and our squash. About 3-4 hours ago, it was nothing but a maze of leftover weeds, sunflower stalks, and drying heads. I removed all of those, got the heads in my well house so I can save the seeds for the birds this winter and then hopefully harvest some or roast some for us. But then what I do during the winter is cover it with a tarp. This is a silage tarp, and that will kill out any weed seed that is in there. So when I pull this back next spring, it's going to be a clean, unweeded bed for me to plant in, so I don't have to till it up or anything. I'm trying to stay away from tilling as much as possible. Anyway, this is the bed between the tunnels that is covered for the winter. Along the edge of here that I left open, I have several herbs growing. We have parsley, thyme, tarragon, more parsley, some cilantro. Towards the bottom down there is it's my comfrey. My mind went blank for a minute. And then I've got dill, which you can't see, that comes up every year. So I left that open. I didn't want to kill that out. Now the next tunnel I'll go ahead and show you, because I haven't started it, and that way I won't get sidetracked. This is where we grew tomatoes and peppers this year, and they're still in there. I haven't cleaned much of anything up. I did take a few rows out, but you see it's really in need of attention. So I'm gonna leave the peppers alone though, because they are still producing great. In fact, I've got several to pick, and I've got basil in here that I've got to get pulled and dried. And then I've still got several green tomatoes. So as long as our temperatures are nice, I'm gonna just kind of ride this out to the end. But here in the next few weeks, as it gets colder and they become less productive, I will clear them all out. And in these rows where you can see I've already cleared, this is where we're going to have our winter broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. So that is that plan. Anyway, not much to do here yet because I want to take advantage of these warm days and get as much out of this as possible. Here are my hives. I have one horizontal, and then the rest are the standard 10s, 2 deeps. So I've pulled off all my honey supers. We got our honey extracted and bottled. We got 180 pounds this year, and that was essentially off of 4 of those hives. The first 4, the ones with the red, orange, and coming this direction, I did not raw because those are new hives. And they have been treated for mites. I want to treat them once more when it gets colder, and then what we will do is put large bales of hay, round bales behind them in a row to protect them from the north winds. And that's pretty much all we do for them during the winter, and those hay bales behind them really help. And they have done well this summer. They're all right now just loaded with bees. Now I'm going back to the first tunnel that I didn't enter and show you where it's at right now. I'm not going to be using it in the same manner next year. We're going to rotate. Get in there. I'm going to rotate and move my tomatoes up here. So what I've done is covered it all with a black fabric to choke out the weeds for the winter. I've got a row of spinach planted right here in my beds. I have cauliflower and carrots that I'm going to try to keep going as long as possible. Then I have just recently seeded some lettuce along the edge of this black plastic, just leaf lettuce, which will come up all over the place. More carrots are in here, and some of those are starting to come. And then I have my bed here at the end with winter kale. And it had a couple of spots that didn't take, so I reseeded them yesterday. Now over here on the edge, stuff across this. I try not to walk on this any more than possible because I don't want to pack it down. This is the broccoli that we're picking from right now. I had some worm issues. You'll see the leaves are kind of chewed up, so I've had to spray them with BT. I use only organic approved treatments. And then I tried some iceberg lettuce this year. Well, it was a failure from the get-go. It was way too hot in here. It didn't work. So I've got some more started, and I'm going to try it again now that the weather is cooler. But I'm getting some really nice broccoli heads. I cut several yesterday. These are cauliflower. They're just now starting to turn their leaves in. So once all of this is done, I'm going to leave this alone, let it set for the winter, because I'll put my amendments in the soil, and then I'm going to plant my tomatoes up here next year. This is a row of celery. I've never grew celery before this year, and I gotta tell you, it's gonna be all the time now. This has actually been cut down once, and I let it come up again, and it's ready to pick again, and it has been so good. I just really was happy with it this year. Some lettuce that went to seed. It got away from me, but I tell you what, the chickens are sure enjoying it right now. But again, we're going to get this cleaned up, and this will be where my tomatoes and peppers are next year, just to get some rotation in. Okay, on to the outside bed. Here's another bed that I just got covered, and I'm going to let set throughout the winter because the weeds got away from me. But what I plan on doing here is adding more raised beds. I've got some old stock tanks that leaked, so we're going to use those as beds. I just set this one here the other day. I'm going to start putting some rocks in it. I took a pick and added more holes in the bottom. I hope I've got enough, but I'm going to plant, I'm not sure what yet in that. I'm still thinking about that. But in here I have an asparagus bed, and I hope I don't kill it out. I'm just going to leave this on long enough to get the weeds suppressed so I can regain my asparagus. Then the strawberries, which are really still doing great. There's a few weeds in there I got to get and pick out. But normally by this time every year they're completely done. But here comes the real work. This is a bed that had green beans that got away from me. So I've got to pull all of these weeds out. And then what I do with this is again cover it with a silage tarp and let it set all winter to kill out any weed seed. We've got corn that we started late and put in these beds, and we've really been enjoying it. Several nice ears on there. I'm going to get all of this picked in the next couple of days, and again cover each one of these beds with a tarp. But you can see it's just loaded with corn, and here we are the middle of October. Now, for the kicker. I thought I was too late with my corn, so I planted some really quick growing sweet corn, and it did awful. I really don't know what to think about this. It was supposed to be half the time of this other corn that I planted. This is called Incredible, which takes, I believe it's 80 some days, and it came up and has done great. And the stuff that was only supposed to take 60 days, I just really don't know what to think about it. So both of those beds are going to get pulled out here in the next week and covered with a tarp. Now this is the okra, which we planted way too much okra this year. We ate okra till we were sick of it. And so I've left some pods on there to dry, and I'm going to collect the seeds and then sell the seeds at the market next year. But again, pull that out. Now on these panels that I have on the back, I did Great Northern beans, and I have them. There's a few I missed, but most of those are sitting in a bucket in the house waiting for me to seed them so we can have soup with it through the winter. I've got a few turnips left to pull, but these are all going to get pulled, cleaned up, amendments to the soil, and covered with black plastic and left alone for the winter. So I've got a lot of work to do, but I love it. The weather's been great, and it will look beautiful when I am done. Down here on the end, again, The weeds got away from me. I had watermelon in here and went up over this cattle panel that I put into a hoop. I got a small area there that I started as a compost pile. It hasn't worked, so I'm going to jerk it out of there and start over again. It's amazing how you think you've got something and each year you try something different. Maybe not everything, but there's always something that didn't work to you, what you thought it was, and you're ready to start over. But that is our garden and the plan for the next few weeks. When I get everything done and tucked in nice for the winter, I will bring it back and give you another walkthrough.